Hey, salut tout le monde! In this episode, I am going to be reviewing BRP's Expedition Radiant Gloves and giving you my thoughts after using them for one full season. Yes, they are pricey, and yeah, they are the most high-tech snowmobile gloves on the market. But if that high-tech stuff scares you, don't worry, these gloves might still be for you. Stick around, let's check them out. So before I jump in, I do want to take a quick second to mention today's sponsor, and that is Algonquin Equipment. Algonquin Equipment is my favorite BRP dealer for all of my BRP toys, no matter the season. Partners like them make it possible for me to review some of this latest and greatest tech and gear so that I can report back to you guys. So the first season I started this channel, I decided to ride with mostly a 509 gear setup, which included their range insulated gloves. So that's what I wore for the first season. Overall, they were okay. I would say that I tend to run a little bit colder than most. So they were decent as long as I kept them on most of the day. Now let me explain. Obviously, being a YouTuber and having my camera out so often when I'm riding, my gloves are coming on and off numerous times throughout the day, and basically my hands would get cold and then I'd put the gloves back on and I never had a chance to get warmed up again. If I were riding kind of in a normal fashion and I was just wearing them all day, I think they would have sufficed, but bottom line was I thought they were too cold. So once I partnered up with Algonquin for this season and we're looking at different offerings, I seen that they had a heated glove option. And without knowing any of the tech or any of the specs, I just told them, those are the gloves I need. I need to test those out to make sure, because if they're gonna keep my hands warm in these kind of extreme conditions of taking them on and off, then they're definitely gonna keep the average rider's hands. So they ordered them up and then they came in, and it was a little bit of a surprise when I opened the box. I am not going to lie. I didn't know what to expect. So as you open up the box, it's very kind of Apple-esque. Great packaging, magnetic kind of box. As it pops open, you've got all of the information here on the inside about the Climb 8 and the app that you're gonna need. Scan the barcode, brings you right to the Climb 8 app, download that, connect it to the gloves via Bluetooth. And it was at that point that my mind was blown. All right, I'm just gonna pull up the app here and I'm gonna go through some of the features. So how does this magic, how does this voodoo work? Quite simply, it works with a temperature sensor. There's a temperature sensor inside the glove that is measuring the actual heat of your hands. So basically it asks you to be in a comfortable setting. So let's say you've been watching TV for a bit, sitting on the couch. You're very comfortable, you don't feel warm or cold. That's the perfect time to do this. So you slip the glove on, you calibrate them, you go through basically what activities you're gonna be using. So in this case, we're gonna select snowmobile. It's gonna measure the current temperature of your hand, and it's going to be like, all right, this is the temperature that he wants. In my case, I found that temperature was a little too hot. It was like in the high 20 Celsius range. After I did the calibration, I actually went back and set my heat point to 22 degrees, and I found that that was pretty well perfect. Now, the non-techie guys, did I lose you? You're like, this, I'm out of here. Why do I need an app to run gloves? I know. But trust me, here's the magic. Once I have it set, all right? So the first time I went out, I messed with them a little bit, stopped for lunch, changed the temperature, this and that. But after that first day, it is literally set it and forget it. That's the beauty of these gloves. Once they're set up, they're actually so simple to use that I wanted to run a little bit of a test. Brought him over for my dad to use, and it was his first time on a sled in over 30 years. The last thing he wanted to do was deal with any tech or apps for gloves, but I reassured him, being that he's normally often cold, I said, just wear them. Just see how much you like them. And that's what he wore the entire day. And his hands never got cold. He never had to worry about it. It was just on and off. He never asked me to turn them on or turn them off or adjust them. They just worked.
Put these gloves on. Are your hands warm right now? Do they feel warm?
Yeah.
Put the other one on.
Mom controls that from her iPad. If you go too fast, she shuts.
Right now, your left hand is 17 degrees and your right hand is 18.9, and then it's set to 21 degrees. They're gonna go on and off. Keep it at 21. Yeah, I'm testing them and I'm reviewing them, so I want you to try them.
It's as simple as that. Ride when it needs a little bit of heat. It'll kind of creep in slowly, give you some of that heat, get it to the right temperature, and then ease off as you don't need it. It's completely automatic. There's no low, medium, high setting, none of that. It's just, this is the temperature I want my hands at. Keep them there. It's as simple as that. And it does an amazing job. I will say there's no time, no ride throughout the season where my hands were cold, including removing them, manipulating my cameras like I do, putting them back on. They would do, obviously that in conjunction with the heated hand grips on the sled did an amazing job. I will say, I don't think I've mentioned it so far, but the main heating element is definitely on the backside of the hand, meaning that the hand grips do the rest of the work. Going over the actual gloves themselves, basically what BRP did is they took one of their warmest gloves, which was the Expedition glove, and then just had this heated element. So they already had a winner of a glove. What can I say about it? Well, it's not bulky. It still had full maneuverability, no issues there. Sizing was great. Nice, soft, supple leather on the inside. They do advertise these as touchscreen friendly. I can attest to that. They do work. Most of the time, it's still a glove, so I mean, it's not perfect every time, but most of the time it works perfect. Got the snot rag here on the back of the thumb. Goggle, snot, whatever, depending on your preference. Cinch straps here, easily accessible while wearing the gloves. I can loosen, tighten very easily. Same here with the curtain. Pull it, cinch it up. If I need to loosen it, grab the other piece, boom, loose. Simple as that. If you've noticed, there's a couple of LED indicators on the gloves here. Basically just giving you status, whether they're on or off. As the batteries start to deplete, these do change red. Get a little bit of a status there of what's going on, but it's definitely not distracting in any way, even when you're riding at night. Lastly, I'd say that when I first turned them on, the pocket that holds the battery is on the inside, basically on the palm side at the top here. This is the battery. And at first, when I put it in, I thought, man, this is going to be uncomfortable, and I wished it would have put this on the top. I have a little bit of experience with some FXR heated gloves, and they've got their battery pack on the top. At first, it seemed like that would be a better idea, but once I started riding with them, I think underneath is where they need to be, and they sort of disappeared. I never thought they were there. They never bothered me in any way. So while we're on the battery life. That's going to be one that's obviously going to be a little bit harder to quantify depending on what temperature you have it set at, the outside conditions, things like that. All I can do is talk to my experience with them. And like I mentioned before, I would typically have it set around 21 or 22. I'd say that the coldest conditions that I rode the gloves in was probably -25. Around that area, maybe dipping close to the -30. There were 3 or 4 rides that I specifically saved some data on. So the first time I tried them was on February 1st. I had them set to 21 degrees. And as you can see here, once I got to the end of the ride, I had 12% on the left hand and 8% battery left on the right. Next one that I saved after that was a ride on February 25th. Same thing, got to the end, had 6% left and 14 on the other hand. Following day, I had 3 and 5%. You can see a little bit of a trend here, so more or less, it's lasting kind of the entire day. That's the beauty of this automatic system, where it's going on and off only as you need it. Traditional systems like the FXR that just have a low and high setting, obviously extremely inefficient. Even in that low setting, it might get to a point where your hands are getting too warm. At that point, it might start sweating. So then you're gonna get colder that way, because now you're introducing dampness. Plus, you're just wasting that battery energy. So in this case, it's only heating when you need to. The other advantage is that you're never gonna leave them on by accident. Or accidentally activated when it's in a bag or something like that when you're traveling. The only time these gloves get turned on is if your hand is in it and the temperature is below the set point. Can they heat your hand for 8 hours straight? Nope, absolutely not. But will they last most of the day? For me, they did. All right, drawbacks, disadvantages. I'm probably gonna nitpick a little bit here, but I'm gonna say the first one, in my opinion, is style. I mean, these are just straight black gloves. I realize that that's probably not important for a lot of people. For me, style is always up there on the list with functionality. I don't necessarily know if it's first. Sometimes it does go first. Maybe not in the case of a glove. Obviously, I wanted to. I would want the function before the form on something like this, but it's important. And I'm gonna say these are a little bit boring. They're just black, but it's their first kick at the can, so maybe next year they'll introduce some different colors, something like that. So the only other thing that I would maybe like to see improved is kind of the battery situation here and this pocket. So I mentioned before, the placement of the pocket is good. You've got a nice Velcro, keeps it in there nice. It's fairly easy to pop out, open up the Velcro, and here you go, battery pops out. You've got this little connection here, this plug. Making this removable like this, I guess, gives us the opportunity to buy maybe a second set of batteries, and then you'd be able to swap out halfway through the day if it's a really cold day. That would be a bonus. I guess I like that, but the disadvantage of this system is every single day when they have to be charged, I have to reach in here, pull it out, unplug it, and then bring these batteries to wherever the charger is. Another alternative that I found that I would end up doing is just kind of leaving it in there, unplugging it, and then plugging from there. But the part that I guess worries me, and I guess, like I said, could be improved, is just the fact that we're plugging and unplugging this so many times when we're riding, and I have a little bit of worry about the cable and the plug over time. So could be nice to have some way to charge these without unplugging the battery and just plugging in the charger. That'd probably be my preference. So outside of those two little nitpicky things, I'd say that these gloves are fucking awesome. I'd say that these have definitely become my favorite piece of gear that I got to test and review for the 23 season. Absolutely. Yeah, they're a little pricey, little over $300 depending if you're US or Canadian and depending on when you're watching this video. So there you have it. My favorite gloves ever of all time. Should you buy them? Do I like them? Yeah, I like them. Should you buy them? I don't know. What do you think? If you struggle ever with your hands being cold and you love your extremities and you want to keep them safe, these will do that for you. Thanks again to Algonquin Equipment for supplying these awesome gloves. Thanks to you guys for watching, for supporting the channel, for sharing with your friends. See you in the next one. Hey, salut tout le monde. Hey, salut tout le monde. Hey, hey. It's like French Italian. Hey, salut tout le monde.